Questions to the Prime Minister. Why is his government prepared to use the $80 billion that he's slashed from hospitals and schools to run an advertising campaign to promote his broken promises and election lies?
The Leader of the Opposition knows full well that the word lies is unparliamentary. He will withdraw and he may rephrase the question. The Manager of Opposition Business on a point of order.
The Leader of the House also used a word which should be withdrawn. I think it was grub, but I'm not sure, and he should withdraw it.
Stop being a grub and a bad man and one of that.
The Leader of the House will resume his seat. The Leader of the Opposition can rephrase his question.
What about that? What about that?
I'm sorry, Madam Speaker, I didn't hear the withdrawal.
I'm happy to withdraw Mr. House.
Thank you.
My questions to the Prime Minister. Well, your voters are speaking pretty loud. They're not happy.
The member for Herbert is warned. The member for Herbert will remove himself under 94 hours.
I challenge him to point to $80 billion in Labor budgets that were going to be spent on health and education. And finally, Madam Speaker, no advertising campaigns have been undertaken by this government.
And all those members on my left who are using those placards will put them down if they appear again. You know the ruling, they're not permitted to be used. And if that was condoned by the management of Opposition Business, which I presume it must have been, now you can have your point of order.
Madam Speaker, given that when that incident occurred, I'd wandered down, got a piece of paper and wandered back, what on earth are you making up?
What a shame.
In the light of the Prime Minister's previous answer to me, why did his Minister for Finance outline the details of a taxpayer-funded propaganda campaign being planned by the government to sell this budget of broken promises?
On this issue, as on so many others, the Leader of the Opposition is simply incapable of telling the truth.
Why is the Prime Minister spending money on a propaganda campaign while cutting $80 billion from schools and hospitals?
Hospital funding increases by 9% this year, 9% next year, 9% the year after that, and 6% the year after that. What sort of a cut is a 9% increase? There is no government advertising campaign, so please stop having the vapours about something that isn't happening. Stop wasting questions.
Treasurer, a senior Liberal has described the budget, and I quote, as a stinking carcass hanging around the government's neck. Why are the Prime Minister and the Treasurer taking money from schools and hospitals, taxpayers' money, to promote their stinking carcass of a budget?
If he is concerned about a stinking carcass, he only needs to look in front of him at the Leader of the Opposition.
I would ask the Honourable the Treasurer, when he used that expression, was he in fact reflecting on another Member of Parliament? If he was, he will kindly withdraw.
I withdraw. And it's not terribly dignified at all, is it? But of course they asked the question, and it was a former Labor Prime Minister. I'm sorry, what are you saying?
Honourable the Leader of the Opposition will desist.
You're all right. They are opposing $40 billion of savings that are going towards fixing the mess that they created. They started the fire in the kitchen, and now they are trying to stop the firemen from putting it out. The only obstacle today, the only thing swinging in the breeze is the modern Labor Party.
When the Prime Minister's own MPs don't support this mean-spirited budget, why should the Australian people?
We could not go on borrowing $1 billion every single month just to pay the interest on Labor's borrowings.
Can the Prime Minister guarantee that childhood immunisation rates won't drop because of the government's GP tax discourages parents from taking their kids to the doctor?
There are a whole range of ways to get immunised. Yes, a GP is one way, but there are also community health centres and other ways of being immunised. It is very important that immunisation rates stay up, and this government certainly supports that.
Does the Prime Minister know how many pap smears and prostate examinations will be avoided because the government's GP tax discourages patients from seeing their doctor?
Members opposite introduced a co-payment for the PBS. They introduced a co-payment for Medicare. And if a co-payment for the PBS is perfectly fair enough, why is there something fundamentally wrong with a co-payment for Medicare?